Cincinnati Bengals, you mentioned them. They lost yesterday as well. And one of the big reasons why, Mike White playing in place of the injured Zach Wilson, only the second quarterback in league history to have 400 or more passing yards in his debut. Cam Newton was the other one in 2011. Let's have a look and a listen at the celebration that happened in the Jets locker room after they pulled off the 34-31 victory.
But listen, guys, y'all fought your asses off. That was awesome. That was absolutely awesome. I just got one freaking game ball. 405 yards passing, 3 touchdowns.
I really appreciate everybody in this room for not flinching and trusting in me and all my teammates. We just get out there and execute it. That's all it was. That's all it was. Let's break it down. Hey, enjoy this one, boys. Enjoy this one. Hey, family on 3. 1, 2, 3, family.
That was awesome. Awesome. And you know, every week I'll get 2 or 3 guys, sometimes as many as 5 or 6, depending upon how the day goes, on the phone, 5 minutes or so, sometimes just a couple minutes, talk about a play, talk about a moment. And, you know, for a lot of guys, they've been there and they've done that, and they understand you have a good game, you make a good play, you get pulled in a bunch of different directions, and, you know, it's just checking boxes until I go get on the plane or drive to my house. Mike White, he loved everything about it. He was in that moment. I think we talked for 10 minutes. And so many different details and nuances about, you know, getting ready to play in that game and understanding the moment and embracing it and believing in the game plan that showed that the team believed in him. They didn't make it run heavy. He said early on the Bengals, he thought were surprised that they were so aggressive throwing the ball that they just assumed they'd try to boost Mike White with run game instead of having him throw. He was 11 for 11 to start things off. But it really was something, Mike. And this guy's been hanging around for a few years. He was a Cowboys draft pick. And I just love to see the diligence, the effort, the perseverance pay off in that moment. You know, he said at one point, he heard the crowd chanting, and he said to Josh Johnson, the backup quarterback, "What are they chanting? Are they chanting my name?" I said, yeah, they're chanting your name. So what a day for Mike White.
Listen, I love these stories. As a former 10th-round draft pick, yes, kids, there was a time when the draft was more than 7 rounds. I was a 10th rounder. My son Mike was an undrafted free agent. I'm a rooter for the guys that you don't know or don't think or maybe aren't supposed to make it. Now, it was a 5th-round pick in 18 out of Western Kentucky to Dallas, but I would imagine Google got a workout last week when Zach Wilson got hurt, and all of a sudden the announcer said Mike White's in the game, and there was a collective, who? You know, nobody knew who the back, except for Jet fans, who the backup quarterback was. And remember, there was that kind of, wow, is Robert Saleh really going into the season without a veteran backup, at least a veteran in that quarterback room? You know, it's a guy who hasn't had a lot of playing time at all. Went in with the rookie Zach Wilson. And wow, I mean, what an incredible job that he did. And certainly what helps is he got the whole week. He is the starter now with Zach Wilson being out. So the game plan is made around him. He's in those meetings. He's part of the making of the game plan. So that definitely helps. But he had to go out and execute. And to execute for over 400 yards. What was the last 400-yard passer? Vinny in 2000, Testaverde, I think, for the Jets. I mean, ridiculous what he was able to do. Certainly helped from the defense getting their first interception of the year with Shaq Lawson getting it to set up the touchdown. And then the old Philly special that he ends up catching the 2-point conversion as well, does Mike White. All that being said, you know, this is a team down 31-20 in the 4th quarter with a backup quarterback and basically a high-flying offense with Burrow and those receivers, especially Jamar Chase. You're thinking, no way the Jets are coming back. And here they are getting the lead up 34-31. But even though Joe Burrow is young, Mike, there was still over 3 minutes to go, and you think, all right, well, he's got time to at least get him into field goal position, if not get a touchdown. They end up having a punt and never get the ball back again. So what a great team effort. But I'm with you. I love stories like this when an unknown like Mike White gets his chance to do something and he comes through.
You mentioned the 2-point play. They call that one to reverse pass to Q. He's the Q, and he told me that the ball was in the air forever. And all I'm thinking is, don't drop it. Don't drop it. He knew a defender was coming, and that helped him lock in and make the catch. And that was something to put them up by 3 points. And then when they're trying to kill the clock, Mike, and I have a feeling that you're not going to like this topic, that you're going to have some strong opinions on it, that penalty on Mike Hilton lowering the helmet to initiate contact, when Ty Johnson, the running back, did the same thing. They both lowered their helmets. And the flag was only called on the defensive player. And Craig Rolstad, the referee, did a pool report after it. He was a little salty. He's defensive. Hey, I'm not here to tell you what you have to do to avoid a penalty in that position. I mean, it's always been a bad rule. They slipped it in the back door at the league meetings in 2018. This is all about, I believe, this is another one of the rules they put in place to make the game safer so they can get to 18 regular season games. This is a nonsensical rule that is inconsistently enforced. And when it's enforced in a moment like that, Mike, that's when people think the fix is in.
I am horrific call to me, and you said it, the inconsistency of the call. How about the offensive player dropping it? Remember, for a brief time, they said they were going to start calling running backs if they dropped their helmet. They called like 1 or 2 in the preseason and then basically said, screw it, we're not going to do it. So the offensive player can do it all they want. The defensive player, I give him credit. He tried to go low. What the NFL basically is doing, it's working to the point of defenders going low and not going for the head anymore or launching. He went low. Low man wins. He tried to get lower than the running back and take his legs out. Your head's going to go down when that happens. He wasn't trying to spear. He was going to take his legs out, and the offensive player lowered his head. It is a horrific call, and he can get as salty as he wants, the referee in the pool reporting afterward, but that's a horrific call. It's a bad call. It's a bad call that time of the game. It's a bad call in the first play of the game. It's a bad call all the way around. And that needs to be looked at, mainly what you said, the consistency of the call. For anywhere, when I saw that flag come out, I thought to myself, no way they're going to call that, because the way he threw the flag and what he was looking at, I thought, he is going to call him for lowering his head. And I said, I'm going to be shocked, but I think that's what they're going to do. It was stupid by the league to do. Stupid. They need to look at that, and they need to do a better job of showing consistency on what they do. They can give me any answer in the world they want on that, and it's not going to suffice me, and it's not going to make me calm down on how they're dealing with this. And I know it's around safety, and I get what you're saying, it's around 18 games. But, man, what an effect that can have on a game. It is horrible. And maybe that's a former defensive player coming out in me and making me get mad about that. But that's a guy trying to make a play, not breaking, in my opinion, not breaking the rule and getting flagged for it anyway, where you stand there and then you say, well, what the hell am I supposed to do?
2 quick points. One, I spoke to somebody yesterday who is intimately familiar with how the rule was developed and how it's implemented and how it's supposed to be enforced. One of the realities is this. If Ty Johnson doesn't drop his helmet and create helmet-to-helmet contact, the flag most likely isn't thrown, even though it still would have been a violation, because technically you're not allowed to lower your helmet and initiate contact. But it is seeing the 2 helmets hit that makes the official more likely to grab the flag. So actually, Ty Johnson, who violated the same rule, basically took the charge there, dropped the helmet, and drew the foul. When he drops the helmet, if he keeps his head up and it's just Mike Hilton's helmet hitting his thigh, there's not going to be a flag there. Second point, and I'll defer to my book Playmakers that comes out March 15, because I got a chapter on how this rule came to be, how it was crafted, how it was jammed in and onto the agenda at the league meetings in 2018, and nobody knew it was coming. This is all PR and legal and safety driven, and it does not reflect the reality of how football is played. And that's one of the reasons why they have struggled with this rule. And the problem, as we've said, it's inconsistently applied. And so when it is applied in a spot like that, and it feels like a team had a game taken away from it, that's when people start thinking something's going on. Even if it's not, that's when people start thinking it.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.